Welcome back to episode 4, where we make pretzels. Or I make pretzels. Whatever. First thing you're going to need in a bowl is a package of active dry yeast, a tablespoon of brown sugar since I don't have malt syrup, and an 1/8 cup of warm water. And by warm, I mean about 110 degrees. And this may be your most important step while making the pretzels, because if your yeast does not get bubbly and foamy after about 10 minutes of sitting, then you have wasted 10 minutes and you will not be able to make pretzels. You're just going to make some really hard dough. The yeast, if it's not active, you'll know because it won't get foamy and it won't have that nice kind of berry aroma to it. So, there we go. Checking my watch for 10 minutes. And here we go. It is time to start adding in some more dry ingredients. So we are going to do about 4.5 cups of flour. Now, depending on your preference, you can use all-purpose or bread flour. All-purpose is going to give you more of a chewy pretzel, where the bread flour is going to give you more of a hard or crisp pretzel. Again, all preferential. Doesn't matter what you use. It should be delicious. Then after you've got your flour all measured out, I add in about 1/8 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. And that's just going to add a little bit of flavor to it. You don't want too much. You can add more if you like, but you're not going to want too much because that's going to have salt on the top. You're also going to add in about another 1.25 cups of the warm water. Again, 110 degrees. You don't want it hotter than that. Now, you're going to want to get some kind of a stirring mechanism. I have my wife's handy-dandy, trusty little spatula coming up, rubber scraper, whatever you call it, it's all regional. Pop, soda, Coke, everybody has different names for the same thing. But stir it up well. You're going to start to see the dough get shaggy, and then at that point, once the dough starts getting shaggy, you're going to want to mix it by hand, but we're not at that point yet. What we're doing is just making sure that I'm scraping the bottom well, that we have an even distribution of the yeast. And what you're seeing me do at this point is starting to do a little bit of the folding. So, the reason I'm doing that, again, just for the even distribution of the yeast and all the ingredients in there. Make sure I get all the sides, because I don't like the stuff sticking to the sides. So at this point, I believe I'm just taking off my watch and my ring, because trying to do this by hand at that point would just be a nightmare. Everything would get stuck all over my wedding band. Everything would get stuck on my cool little watch. Now, I'm pulling the dough off of my scraper and just setting that aside, and I'm getting ready to do the kneading by hand. Now, I don't have a very traditional method. You're not going to find that I am a baker expert. So you're just going to see me doing a lot of punching, a lot of flopping, a lot of folding, a lot of slopping stuff all around. At the end of the day, do what you can. I can't sit here and pretend that I'm an expert at making a pretzel. I just know whatever comes out of my oven at the end of all this tastes really good. So you're going to want to fold this, knead it, do whatever you want for probably, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes, I would say, until you start to feel the dough get kind of elastic when you push, and you can take your hand off and you can see that it kind of like pops back up at you. That's really what you're looking for. Sometimes it may be a little bit quicker, sometimes it may take a little bit longer. There are a little bit of differences I found between brands of flour, so it's more of one of those trial and error kind of things, but yeah, enjoy looking at my elbow as we're watching me knead this dough into a ball, and I've covered it with plastic wrap, let it rest for about 10 minutes. Now I'm ready to start rolling this thing out. So what I do is I take it right out of my bowl. I kind of give it a not so gentle push right down, because what I'm doing is just breaking up all of the air right now, and I'm rolling it out. That way I can cut it into 8 even pieces. We're not making like those giant pretzels like you see in the I guess ads for Germany, where we're having pretzels the size of our heads. I mean, that'd be kind of cool, but it's kind of impractical to do in your own kitchen. So Yeah, I'm going to be smacking down the dough quite a bit as I'm doing this. Again, just releasing more air, getting it flatter, and that way, as it goes for like the second proof, for like the next 10 minutes, then, it'll rise again. So we don't have to worry about, not being gentle. So what I'm doing is just cutting into 8 even pieces again. Weight doesn't have to be exact, as long as they're all relatively similar in size. I couldn't begin to tell you what the weight is of each pretzel. Never weighed it out. But I'll show you what it should probably roll out to here in a little bit. But again, I'm smacking down the dough, stretching it out, rolling it out. So what you're seeing me do right now is roll from the middle all the way out to the ends. And I'm doing it kind of light in the middle and then applying pressure as I get towards the ends. That way I'm stretching out the dough, but I'm leaving that big fat part that's kind of notorious about the German pretzel. You've got a big fat part and then skinny tips. So here we are, rolling, and then I'm getting ready to grab it by the ends and give it a little twist in the air, let it spin around and kind of like, I don't know how you describe it. It's one of those weird things you just gotta play with, but it kind of does like 1 or 2 twists around, and then you just slap the fat part down and then bring your 2 little threads across the top that give you that very familiar pretzel face. So here we go again, me just rolling another one out, and I think I go through 1 or 2 of these with you before I just fast forward or skip to the next part. Fast forward, and I tried to move back a little bit so you didn't get so much elbow in your face. Trying to work on that, but I don't always remember as I'm filming by myself until I can afford to pay a cameraman or one of my kids to hold it steady for me and tell me, "Dad, move your elbow out the way." But this one I tried to back up for you a little bit, and I had the bright idea at this point to go get my measuring tape to give you an idea of how long it should roll out. So it goes out to roughly about 24 inches, so with the camera shaking, that means I stormed through the house to get it, and boom, there you go, 24 inches. Maybe 23, it doesn't matter. It's just about right about there. So again, roll it out, twist it up, shape it, make it look pretty. There you go. Oh, it's a happy looking pretzel. So while this is going on, in the background, I have a pot of water. And I don't have the, I shouldn't say I don't have. It's really hard to find food grade lye around here, which would give it the chewy exterior that you want, that big, deep brown golden color. So what I'm doing is the baking soda method, to where every cup of water that I have simmering, I have 1 tablespoon of baking soda in there with it. And I brought it up to a quick boil, making sure everything was dissolved before I dunk in my pretzels. And then I've reduced it down to about medium heat. And then I let each pretzel sit in there for about 10 to 15 seconds, coating it generously with some of that water. Now, John, this doesn't look like 10 seconds that you're doing it. I know, I'm fast forwarding because it's kind of boring to watch. But, this is just to give you the idea of what to do. You don't have to face it any specific way. You just want to put it in there and make sure it's submerged. And then make sure it's all evenly coated, otherwise you're going to have light spots on your pretzel. Finish up the rest of the baking soda bath with my pretzels. I've got my oven starting to preheat at 400 degrees. And then I'm going to take a very sharp knife and just cut the slits into them that give it that very familiar look that we've all known to be a classic German pretzel. Now, I was looking for my pretzel salt, which I couldn't find. It's those, like the large white chunks of salt that you remember from all your mall pretzels. So I didn't have that, so kosher salt works just as well. So would sea salt. Just don't use table salt. It doesn't look good. It doesn't taste good. It gets a little bit way salty. You want enough on there for flavor. You don't want it to be the only flavor. You don't want your tongue to burn. You don't want it to blister because of all the salt. But once they're salted, I popped it right into the 400 degree oven for 18 to 20 minutes until the desired golden brown pops out, and voila, there it is. Now, could it be darker? Absolutely, that's where the lye comes in. But again, I don't know where to get the malt syrup nor the food grade lye, and don't do what I just did. Use a little mitt when you start to pull these off. Now, could you butter the bottom of the pan? Absolutely. I didn't. I don't think I ever really do. But just if you do what I did and you have it lined with aluminum foil, it might be prudent just to spray a little bit of like nonstick spray on there, just so the aluminum foil doesn't stick to it. But, you know, to each his own. And there is my pretzel. That one got a little bit ugly because I had to reshape that after the baking soda bath, but it was absolutely delicious. So with that, I say guten appetit, enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Any questions? Drop them down. Thanks so much.